morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. Happy Thursday. I am the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, broadcasting from a very lovely already Southern Connecticut. It is 57 degrees already. I'm so excited, and the sun is out, and yay, yay, yay. I'm so happy that the spring is sprung. The spring has sprung, right? So good morning, everyone. Who am I? The badass Buddha. I am 50% namaste, 50% go F yourself. That's where that comes from. But I am a mindfulness teacher. I am a coach specializing in narcissistic relationships, toxic relationships, and narcissistic abuse syndrome. I am an author. I am a professional speaker. I'm a chiropractor as well. And I am one of the fabulous duo that is Viva Cafe con Leche.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I love that intro. Very nice. I'm very tired. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your Gladiator guru. Who am I? I'm a sacred healer, spiritual coach. I am a lover of words, of books, a lover of love. I am Mother Nature's favorite child, a traveling magician, an end-of-life doula. I am an author, artist, and Margarita de Margarita. I belong to me. Oh, good morning, everyone who's on. Hola, Milagros, Kathy, Nancy. Yes.
And Melissa, don't forget Melissa.
Melissa Hernandez Moran.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta meet up. We were supposed to meet up, but our schedules. Oh, so it's sunny out there. It's not sunny here. I'm like sitting right in front of my window. It's not. It's a little cloudy today.
I was telling Gladiator Guru everyone that we were talking the other day, and I said, I miss you sitting in your screened room, your, what do you call it? Your sanctuary, right? Remember, she would sit out there and you'd hear the birds. Of course, on Thursday morning, you'd also hear the garbage trucks picking up, but nonetheless, but we'd hear the birds.
Hear them?
I didn't hear. We can't hear them. We can't hear anything where you are now.
Oh,
but when you were there, we heard everything outside. But I do miss the birds. Like the birds were so pretty to hear.
There's a nest that at 3 a.m. they're just talking. I'm like, I wonder what kind of bird that is, because normally you don't really hear birds at
not that early.
Yeah. And they're just having conversations, and I can hear that. So yeah, I said I was gonna go there. I totally forgot. Next week I'll be out in my sanctuary.
All right. And then you're heading back up here. That's the goal, right? To head back here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you're going to head back here. We have our, the second book signing party celebration on April 24th with Chenille Real Deal and the two of us. And we're going to see, I know Noelle was supposed to go, but then she couldn't go because she forgot that she was actually going away. And Kelly wasn't able to go, and Karen wasn't able to go, but we'll see. I'll see if I could prod the other two a little bit more. And but it's going to be a nice celebration. It's $40 to get in. It includes a book that's autographed by all of us, and well, by those that are there. And it includes the refreshments and the raffle tickets, because we give away some really fabulous prizes. And then if you already have a book, bring your book with you. It's $20 at the door. And if you didn't have it signed by any of us, we'll sign them. We'll sign it. And then if you're only missing like one signature, then we can have that other author sign it. But do come. I mean, it's going to be, we had such a great time. We had a small crowd, but we had such a great time. It wasn't a real big space, but this space is going to be big. There's going to be, I believe, Chenille said she's planning to have some music playing, and we're going to really make this a celebration. So if you are in the Connecticut area on April 24th, what time is, I think it was like 2, something like that, 2 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. In Bristol, Connecticut, which is sort of the center of almost the center of the state. And, come see us. If you're in Massachusetts, come down. And if you're in New York, come across. But it'll be a lot of fun. And the more people that we can get there, the more of a fabulous celebration it will be. So, and the food, we'll have great refreshments and just great company. It's phenomenal to be with so many fabulous women in one location. So just think of it that way.
Absolutely. Just the storytelling alone. A lot of people forget the magic of storytelling. And
Yes.
And when you sit with someone and you have conversation, whether it's about why you're there or not, whether it's because they love your purple hat or your green shoes, that's the start of a conversation anywhere you go. But when you purposely go somewhere to listen to conversation, to have conversations and listen to storytelling, you're like the wealthiest, richest person around, because that's something that you did with intention, to go listen to the melodic sounds of other people's voices, sharing stories that really happened. So I think the magic in that, and like you and I were speaking yesterday of the human library that's in, it's not in the city, but I'm just going to say it because I like the way it feels on my tongue, Copenhagen, where you go into this place and they're traveling, and you check out a person and you sit with a person and you listen to their story instead of a book. Now, don't get me wrong. I have wonderful affairs, intellectual affairs with my books. But
Yeah.
that concept of sitting with the total, going in and I guess they write something about themselves.
Yeah, they do. They have a sign.
Yeah.
They have a sign that says just a little blurb about, like, I think it's their first name and what's their story. So they could be homeless. They might have mental illness. And you sit down and they tell you their story. So you're in person with them, which is
sitting down.
Really
book.
So
and I think, so when these events happen like that, I think, you know what, if you can make it, that would be nice. If you already own a book, it's $20 going towards an author, and it's just for everything. And the atmosphere is to create an atmosphere, to continue a legacy of storytelling, and to continue the participation in human connection. You're talking with people, you're meeting new people. We're going to be in a new area. I don't hang out in Bristol, and I'm from Connecticut. So, I mean, all of that is new. It's new opportunities on a day to get away from your families and just be adulting with other women.
So I got to interrupt you quickly because your sister Connie, hi Connie, and Arlene Kelly, hi
Connie.
The two of them, Connie started a star party. And so for those of you that are on, you have exactly four minutes to get stars. And while you're at it, share away so we can get more people on, and then they can start the star party as well. So thanks, Connie, for starting the star party. Those things, I get such a kick out of that. Like it's so funny. But so here we are. Look at this. We're already in the middle of April. This is just absolutely crazy, right? And then what's tomorrow? Isn't tomorrow? No, is tomorrow tax day? Is it the 15th or the 18th?
Tomorrow's Friday, the 15th.
Yeah, it's the 18th. It's the 15th, right? It's tax day.
Yeah.
So we're just moving right along, and again, what the conversation was on Tuesday and what we're doing again today, what was it? It's rest, review, recover, reset. We added ours to it because we know that those were valuable as well. And so if the beautiful and absolutely fabulous Kathy Ruiz, because she was throwing out all the rest of the R words too. Yeah, Kathy, if you remember what those R's were, go ahead and put them up there in the comments section.
Recalibrate.
And then here's the other thing that I noticed. It's funny. We go onto the Viva Facebook page, right? And I still can't get used to some of these business pages, how they work. And I was clicking on a couple of things, and I clicked onto this one thing about what people post or share, because it doesn't pop out all the time. And I just noticed it. And every single post is Kathy. It's Kathy sharing this. Kathy's sharing that. Kathy do. And so Kathy, it's so funny. Like that's all we see is you sharing, reposting, adding stuff to it. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Kathy, for that support. That's so wonderful.
Amazing. Yes. And wanted. Don't stop. Because you know what? that makes us smile, and that's what we need to do for the 18th.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but then yeah, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that.
It takes that one person like to inspire you, and they don't even know your existence. So I think that to know who comes on the show and who actually says something, I love when my sisters come on. And then to take the time out of your morning, instead of just listening, you're actually participating, and that is big. And so as humans, we just need more human connection. Get away from your screen and go to the coffee shop.
Except right now. Don't get away from your screen right now.
You have to. Like a lot of people think, oh, I can do everything from here. No, give self-care and go and take a break and people watch. Be around people. Listen to laughter, watch. And then make up your own story. You ever just people watch and say, they're arguing out. And then you see the guy and then you automatically start filling in the words. And look at her expression. And she's saying this. That is just, you know what? That brings you into your present, into your now. You got to be in your present because you know what? We got to learn the difference between your intuition guiding you or your trauma misleading you. And sometimes we need to step away from ourselves and go out into the world. And just, even if we watch and observe human interaction, because then you're a part of it because you're sitting right there. It's a live performance. Be alive, be present. And let's start with our program.
All right. So we're going to jump in. And I remember that I know where we left off on Tuesday's show. And that when you and I prepped for this on Monday, there was a specific direction that we were going to go in with our guest, Kristi Sullivan, today. Right. So you wrote that down, right? It was something like the why, right? We were asking like why. So we're going to introduce Kristi Sullivan. Kristi Sullivan, a human design and self-care expert, author and speaker on a mission to help busy women stop overworking and start overflowing. I love that. That sounds great to me. She hosts a virtual community for female personal development junkies like herself to create better wellness, improve relationships, shift mindsets, and manifest more success, wealth, and freedom to live their best life by design. She's an international speaker, workshop retreat teacher, and lead author of a new best-selling Amazon book called Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing. 25 Ways to Transform Your Life Using Human Design, launched in October 2021 with 25 other human design practitioners. She's also the co-author of 3 best-selling books written and published on Amazon during 2020 pandemic. The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 2, The Great Pause, Blessings and Wisdoms from COVID-19, and Transformation 2020. All right, so we have built her up. So here she goes. Welcome, Kristi.
Hola, I'm going to practice my Spanish. Hi, how are you? And I have to say, I'm so excited you'll be in Bristol. That's not far from my house. I will come to see you.
Oh my God, that's great. You're up in Mass, right?
Connecticut. I'm a Connecticut gal too.
You know what it is we have so many people come on. I lose track of the people that are actually local to us. Where, if you don't mind saying, like, what's the location? If you know, I mean, if you don't have to say it, but
I'm West Hartford.
Oh, okay,
so
that's right.
I'm maybe an hour probably from where you are, because I'm not sure which towns you're in. But
Shelton,
we're all.
So but Bristol's Bristol's not that far. I used to work in West Hartford. I went to school at CCSU. And then I would work. I would work for a time in West Hartford, so I know that area. But it's been a while since I've been there on a regular basis. So cool. Yeah. All right. Sounds great. Oh, that sounds perfect. So it's April 24th. Good. It is. We could send you. We've been posting where the location is, but we could send it to you. We would love to have you. That would be absolutely fabulous. Fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
So cool. All right, girl. So we were talking about rest, review, recover, reset. We added some R words to it. So one of our tribe members, Kathy Ruiz, put release and recalibrate. The title was we would have got too long and we wouldn't have fit it in the advertisement. But we were talking about how we have to take that moment, that pause. We have to review ourselves, our business, whatever it is that's going on in our lives. And then we have to, what did we say? We reset. What did I say? I don't even know the title. Rest, review, recover. We have to recover from whatever we've been going through and then reset. And one of the things that Gladiator Guru added was recovering from even the good stuff, because we assume we have to recover from the negative stuff, the bad stuff, but to also that you have to recover from the good stuff, because if you don't put yourself in check, celebrate it, but then also say, okay, I have to continue and keep building up. Otherwise you get complacent and you get lazy. And so that's why we have to, recovering is not just recovering from the bad, it's recovering from the good. So, what was the direction we wanted to go with Kristi? It was discussing the why, right? Gladiator Guru, the why. Why is it that we find it sometimes difficult to rest? Why is it that we find it difficult to review? Why is it that we find it difficult to, recover and reset? And then the how, like what can we do? What can we tell the tribe? What do we do to make sure that we keep moving forward?
Such a good question. And there really are so many ways to answer this. I think you have many other experts on your show, and that everyone, even your guests, can come up with different answers. So in the practice that I do, which really involves sort of understanding our energetic blueprint, which is your human design based on your birth date, I've really felt that even more and more when we are not doing what we naturally are meant to do, and that feels really good for us. And that can be especially things like resting and recovering, that we need time for that, for our energy to catch up or to deal with the stress or the things going on around us. When we're not doing that easily, I think it's because of conditioning. And conditioning is a really important concept to look at when you're doing your self-growth and personal development, because it's the influences of things that you received when you were growing up, life experiences, even effects from trauma, and even things like ancestral messages and ways of being, cultural ways of being, things that you are carrying that either were told to you by authority figures or parents, or things you were influenced by. And those are important because they're part of your personality, part of your makeup. But when you look at the human design and the core of who you are, it's like your operating system. You're naturally encoded with a certain energy and way of doing things. And it's really important to understand that so that you can come from that place and make the choices based on what your energy also needs, like that rest and recovery. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's very interesting, actually. I love it. Keep going.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it takes us some inner work, and the self-care that I talk about is so important to not just do things to feel good and be healthy, like exercise and your health and your food and your sleep, but it's the inner work too. What are you doing to clear energy or emotions or conditioning that don't serve you? It could be self-limiting beliefs. It could be, how do you heal from past traumas? And the traumas could be small. They don't have to be huge things, but things that had an impact on you that created some programming or some, again, beliefs that aren't serving you maybe now in your current day and what you're doing. So that inner work, that inner self-care is really important too.
And I think that's really the key. It's people sometimes, I know I've done this myself. So it's not like I'm going to say, well, I've talked to this one, or these are what people do, like separating myself. I've done this, and I have to check in with myself all the time. We sometimes, I don't know if it's just because we're tired or we just have so much on our plate. We kind of look at it like, I don't want to do the work. Like, I don't want to put the time in. I've got enough to do. I've really got to put in work into myself. And the irony is, because I get into those headspaces sometimes where I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got to take care of my kids. I don't want to stop for a second and put the work into myself. But again, like I said, the irony is that we're the ones we have to do it first to ourselves, because when you get to the point of exhaustion And if you're saying I'm too tired to have time for myself, you're doing it backwards, because if you're taking care of you, then you will have all the energy in the world to take care of everybody else, and anything else that you need to do. And it is programming, because I was programmed, from an early age, and it's a constant process of me having to go conscious and check in with myself, because I was programmed at an early age, everybody before you, and you're last. It's like you get the scraps. And I grew up in a very Italian American family. My mother was the epitome of the Italian American, especially like 50s wife for a while. And everybody first. And I saw it. I saw how she would do that all the time. And then when I became an adult, I sort of just said, well, this is the way it's supposed to, when you get to an adult, you're supposed to do this. And luckily for me, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I started to figure this out throughout my life, but really came to terms with it in my 40s, my mid 40s. So, it's sad it wasn't sooner, but nonetheless, that's fine. My mother's 85 years old. She's going to be 86, and she still struggles with this. Like, I have to fight with her to literally argue with her to say, stop, enough, go sit down. And she's at a point where she's so physically exhausted that she'll just say, she'll come to me and she'll say, if it's okay with me, she's asking me, her adult daughter, if it's okay with you, I'm going to go sit down and because I got to sit down. I'm like, go, what are you asking me for? Go sit down. What do I think? I'm going to come in there and go, oh my God, you laying there with your legs up with eating bonbons? I'm going to have a problem with that. Like, I would love it if she laid all day with her legs up eating bonbons, because she deserves it. She's worked hard her whole life. And so it is programming, and we have to constantly check in with the program, check in with ourselves.
Yeah. That's such a good example. Yeah.
I think it can go either way. When you do what you say you do, and what we just discussed now, how do you think somebody can change that?
Yes.
I believe in ancestral things. I'm a spiritualist. So my ancestors, I have conversations with them all the time. I walk with them. I talk with them. Influence from how being raised and everything. But how would you explain that to someone, and how to flip it?
That's a great question. And I try to keep things simple, because I'm pretty simple when I explore these things and learn about them. And I want others who are just learning about them also to kind of understand just the basics, and not to get, too caught up in everything. But awareness, just being aware that of your lineage, of your ancestors, of the programming and the ways, and just even what happened when you were growing up, that awareness alone is the first step. And that's like 90%. Just having awareness, it helps you then to make choices that, for example, if you notice, like my lineage is Eastern European, and there's definitely, with the culture as well as in my family, this idea that, working hard led to your success. So go study hard and graduate with good grades so you can go to a good school, then study hard some more so you can graduate from college, and then get a good job, and then work hard so that you retire,
Yes.
successfully. And it's like this path that there's many different paths, but the work hard was always sort of there. And that is still definitely part of my makeup. It's not something necessarily I'm changing, but I'm now more aware of it, so that when I need to do things like rest and recover, I give myself some compassion. And like you were saying, Lori, the self-care is like oxygen. I know I need to do that so that I can work hard, but in a way that's beneficial for me and not draining. So things like, how did my ancestors operate? What am I doing in a habitual, unconscious way that when I become aware of it, that at least now I'm operating from a place of that awareness, and making a choice that still benefits me. And it's not because of what my mother said or because I'm trying to please somebody else. And that's their journey. If like, I also see my mom sometimes doing things, and that's sometimes her journey and her way of staying with that belief because it serves her. But I have a different choice. So it's not easy, but the awareness is definitely like 90% of just giving us some power to decide what we want to do.
So when you speak on the human condition and being aware, you're talking about just being present and mindset change. That's it, right? That's the human.
Yeah.
DNA.
It's yeah. So
human control everything, right? I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's such a great conversation we're having. Yes, I think that some of it is natural for us. So I look at human design is really your energetic blueprint. It's sort of your operating system. What I describe is like life is the journey that we're on, this road that we're traveling, and you're driving a car. And that car, if you look under the hood, has certain ways that things are operating and different electrical systems and what kind of gas are you putting into it. So the car is your human design. So it's really what you're driving on this journey, but the journey is still like your experiences and things like you may say, what is your destiny or fate? That's the journey. The human design is your car, and just understanding who you are in this lifetime. Like, for example, some people are meant to work a 9-to-5 job and love working, and about 70% of the population are what we call a type called the generator. So doing work is so like just natural for them. We're like the Energizer bunny, and doing the right kind of work lights us up. I'm a generator too. But then we have about 30% of the population where they just need to be really mindful, because if they are working, trying to keep up with those Energizer bunnies, they're going to burn out. Mm-hmm. And for them, a more flexible day to give them downtime, they may need more rest. They may need a nap in the middle of the day. And sometimes we feel like, oh, I could use a nap, but I can't do that. Well, maybe your energy system actually needs that nap. So you still have the choice of whether you take it or not. But understanding, again, that car that's on your journey, that you're driving on this journey, is really insightful.
Do you think that is important? I'm sorry, Badass. Do you think that driving this car through life, that you should be very specific what fuel you're using to move it forward? Because it's not only the mind or your thought. Go ahead.
Right.
But
yeah, no, that's so great. Yes. I think that, learning something like human design or doing any kind of inner work and learning more about yourself, first of all, there's awareness, but you still have the choice, and you also know what's best for you, because we're all uniquely encoded and we're all unique beings. So what works for one may not work for another. Maybe you want that super unleaded supercharged to give you the go. But for others, they're just like, I'm good.
It depends on how expensive it is, because it's up there in price.
I get it.
Yeah. And depending on what you want to spend, right? But it's also about what serves you. Self-care can come in such very simple forms. It could be sitting and just taking a few breaths. So you were saying, Badass, how like you might not find the time and you're like, I'm just got too much going on. Yes, for sure. There's a lot on our plates usually, but can you fit in just a few breaths? You brush your teeth without even thinking about it sometimes. You eat food when you know that you need to. Just finding some times to take a few breaths or take a walk around, go outside, put your feet on the ground. Those kind of little self-cares can be really important too.
They're little boosts. And, that's part of mindfulness practice. And I think people get it mixed up. People think that mindfulness practice is meditation. Meditation is a tool of mindfulness practice, and mindful living is just the way you live. And all those, and living a mindful life is doing exactly what you said. And doing what we're talking about here. It's taking those moments for yourself, honoring yourself, resting, recovering, resting, reviewing, recovering, reset. And people think that you have to put all that time. And I think that's the other piece. We're so scheduled. Like we're always looking at, oh, I have to do this. I have a doctor's appointment at this time. I want to eat by this time. I have to go over here. I have to run to the store. We're so scheduled that we think I don't have time, because I've heard this so many times, and I'm sure Gladiator Guru has, and you have. When you're talking to somebody and they go, you say, well, why don't you just take a moment to just sit still? Or like you said, just go outside and walk outside. I don't have time. Okay. We all have 24 hours in the day. We all have the same amount of time. So why don't you have time? Well, no, I've got to do this and I got to do that. Okay. And then when you pick at them a little bit like that and make them tell you how little time they have, and then you say, you don't have a minute. You don't have a minute? 1 minute. And they'll be like, sometimes they'll say no. And sometimes they'll say, well, yeah, I mean, I can have a minute. Okay. Then you sit for a minute and you breathe. Because I myself did not think for a very long time that a minute could do anything. But my coaching certification is through the Heart Math Institute. And they taught us a breathing technique that can be done in a minute. That's the low, 1 minute or more. And in 1 minute, you can reset yourself. In 1 minute, you can rest. You can ground yourself, gives you a moment to review. And then in that 1 minute, you can decide, what do I want to do after this 1 minute? Because you might say, no, I got to go right back to doing what I'm doing. Or that space, that moment that you gave to yourself allows your body to review really quickly and say, okay, you know what? I kind of do have longer than a minute, and I can do this. I can spare some extra time, or I can fit this in. And I think, because listen, you could even schedule it. I know it sounds funny, because Gladiator Guru and I are totally different on this piece. And I've had to become a scheduler because I have so much crap that I have to just think about and deal with. And I don't do it because I'm that anal retentive. Maybe I'm a little bit. She'll argue with me. But maybe I do it because I don't want to forget something. So I've actually put in my schedule, take a moment for yourself, go out for a walk, do this, just to get myself back into the habit of doing it. And then at some point, I don't want to have to put it in the schedule and write that. But it is, sometimes we have to do that because we are habitual. And these energies and these pieces of ourselves, from our generationally speaking, they've all created habits in our brain. And if we want to change things, we have to change the way that we do it, and we have to break that cycle by reforming, neurological connections. We don't get into the science of it, but that's the reality of it. So, and it takes the one thing, the awareness, like you said, be aware of it.
But it also takes effort. You got to be willing to do the work and clean up the shit out of your own life.
That's right. And take the action.
Try to be so politically correct and don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, that the words aren't being said the way it connects to that humanness of people. You know what? Disrupt them for a minute and let them know. How you doing? Sometimes I'll say, I'm breathing. How are you? Because people forget the little things. Like people forget that, you know what? Be the car, be the vessel that gets you going in your awareness, but you got to feed your spirit in order for you to get the energy. That's your fuel. It's feeding your spirit. And if you're constantly just working up here, you're malnourishing the spirit. You're not a body and a brain. You're a freaking spirit.
Yes.
So if you are too busy taking care of this part and trying to feed all this, magical shit, what is the fuel in your car? What is pushing you forward? Like people are like, what's the difference? The soul is, how many of us are familiar with the gas stove? A gas stove, you click, 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 and then it comes up. And sometimes you just look at it, right? So your soul is that pilot, like I'm the gas stove. The click, click, click. So we're there letting you know, we're here, we're ready, let's do this. And then the spirit is that flame that comes on and is dancing in its, majestic hues of blues and orange, and yellow, saying, I'm here. I got you. But what do? We're constantly thinking, well, if I change this, then I can do this. If I light a fire up my ass, then I can get going. You know, those firecrackers are not going to light unless you are adding the fuel. And what is your fuel? You know, and yeah, we are different. I don't, you know what? I'm a gypsy. I'm a free spirit. I'll write shit down. There's things written all over the place. I just don't write it in time, because to me, the time and the clock and the time and the calendar, it's not my best friend. We get along sometimes because it's like I'm on probation and I have to be ready at a certain time. But other than that, but it works. You gotta find out who you are so you can know what works for you. And the badass Buddha likes her list. Me, no. I'm like, I'll try to get everything done in one day, and if not, I'm like, oh well, I'll do it again tomorrow. Because my time is my gift of life. And if I don't do things that I want to do, whether it is that I don't want to do something that it said I'm supposed to do, then I'm winning. Because I am just sitting down chilling. I'm listening to the birds. I'm having my coffee. But that's my mindset. And I guess that's the difference. Energy. Badass Buddha grew up in an Italian American family, and I can understand that, you know. And she had the beauty that they encouraged her to go to college. I grew up in a biracial, bicultural household, which led us all to be, of course, definitely bipolar at times. You had a Puerto Rican father who looked like an Indian, and then you had an Italian mother, and the bloodline was crazy. Just their upbringing was crazy. So they did the best they could with what they had, which was really not much. But then I am who I am because of that. No blame, no shame. They couldn't do it. Watch me. That's the mentality I grew up on. But go ahead, Kristi. Yeah. This is about you. But yeah, thank you for that.
This is all good. And it just shows like how you both presented sort of things, not just from different families, but even how you do things on a day-to-day basis, the scheduling. There's probably differences, again, in your human design. I could show you if we did what we call a reading, where I would say, you know, well, you have this sense of like everything is in the moment. I'm just going to go with the flow, versus others who might have to feel like this pressure of the time, and they're either rushing to get things done or just feel like they're overwhelmed. And I have two words that came up, two R words. One, I think you might have mentioned recalibrating, and the other re-energizing. That, you know, when we feel overwhelmed, usually overwhelm, burnout, frustration is a sign that you're not living in the design that you were created with. You're not running that car as efficiently. So what happens is time gets compressed. You feel like you don't have enough time. You don't have enough energy. And when we start to pay attention to the natural way that we do things and how that helps us, like some people being in the moment slows down time. For others, like taking a nap helps them reset. Things that not necessarily everybody's doing. So you have to pay attention to what's unique to you and what's serves you the best. It doesn't have to serve everybody. You're not trying to fit it. If we all try to fit in a formula the same, we're going to all burn out because it doesn't work for everybody, that same formula. But when you do, you can feel like you're recalibrated. All of a sudden, like you've done that oil change for your car and it's running better and more efficiently. And all of a sudden you feel re-energized, which helps you to work not harder, but smarter too. So that's what I wanted to say about those R words.
It's knowing self, because if you want to keep with the car, examples, it's like if you are a Ford, but you want to behave like a Maserati or a Lamborghini, you can't, because you're a Ford. And it's not saying
you're Pinto ass. I'm a Mercedes and you're a Pinto, so get in your lane. That's what you're trying to say.
So it's like this. It's not saying that you're less than. It's not saying because you're the Ford and you want to be the Lamborghini. It's not saying that you can't upgrade. It's just saying that this moment in time, you have to honor who you are and know thyself, and then move forward. So if you say, I'm the Ford, but I really want to be the Maserati, what do you need to do to get from the Ford to the Maserati, and make sure that that's exactly where you want to be. Because I mean, I look at that and I go, I definitely don't want to be a Lamborghini. They're hot and looking and everything, but they've got no leg room. I can't store shit. I mean, that doesn't work for me. So for me, it's like I would like a Maserati SUV. Just saying. So if anybody wants to donate one to me, I'm more than happy to take it. But that's the beauty of it, is that rest and review period is also a period of understanding self, knowing self, being aware of where you are at this moment in time, and then checking in and saying, am I okay where I am right now? Do I want to move on to something bigger and better? What would that take? What would that look like? Because Gladiator Guru is always talking about taking the action. You know, a lot of manifesting talks about you got to think and visualize and feel it and smell it and taste it. Get out of your bed and off your ass and do it. I mean, that's part of the thing too. And so that rest, review, recover, reset will also help guide us to say, okay, I can't just sit here all day and do this. I can't schedule my life away. I can't wander aimlessly. I have to know what works best for me. And then if it is working, beautiful. And then if it's not working, what else can I do? Like, what can I do? What steps can I take? Who can I ask? Who can I consult in? What can I learn?
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think we waste a lot of time with that, though, badass. We waste a lot of time trying to figure out everything you just said. You know what? Sit with yourself. Write a letter to yourself. If you're so into planning, plan a fucking day with yourself. And this gets me hyper, and I'm sorry, Kristi, because I love everything you're saying and and that's why the Badass Buddha and I hold ourselves accountable to things, because we are different, but we honor each other in it. And that's where discernment comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not, like, people are constantly getting upset because I'm late. I'm not late. I'm on time. You were early. We could look at it from many different angles. Right? So why I gotta be the bad guy in this? Just because you like to be on time, don't put that pressure on me. You know, and people might not think, society might think, you know, it's rude. You're disrespecting the other person by being late. Why? Are they a prude? Do they have to, like, everything has to be per second of the hand going by? No. So, but that never bothers me anyway. But I think, and I love everything that she says, but I think when you have 50 freaking planners with calendar days, I have a whole bookshelf with them. People give them to me because I'm a writer. They think I want to plan everything out. I don't like them little boxes. First of all, because as you see, I don't even use paper with lines because it's constricting to my spirit. So, and I think
that's because you know yourself.
And I think that people need to learn to be alone. If you have a problem being alone, or you're not aware of it, take yourself out on a date. Go eat somewhere by yourself. Go to a movie theater by yourself. And if you can't do it, then you got to start working on yourself. Because how else are you going to go from that Ford to that Maserati? There's only but so much people can do for you. They can hold the shovel. They might scoop up some of your shit and put it in a different position. But you got to do the work. You got to go clean up that crap and understand who you are, and then move forward. And I think, thank you, Kristi. I love your voice. It's very calm. As you see, I try, but it's just not. I can't master it. It's not who I am. You know,
I love your voice too.
She explains everything, and then I'm very emotional because I'm passionate, and because when I speak in vivid color. Although I'm always dressed in black. But the thing is that, you know, I just think there comes a time where all this sensitivity going on in the world and people recalibrating words to fit the spirits of other people. You know, what are we creating? Just be real. That's part
of that's what we're talking about, not honoring self.
Be destructive. But even if someone comes to you for help, don't enable them. Tell them, you know, get out of your own way already. Come back to me when you've like at least taken a couple steps out of your way.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with that. Go ahead, Kristi.
And you both said something that was really important about honoring. So one of the things I hear a lot when people learn about their human design is it gives them the opportunity to honor more of who they are. It validates, it almost liberates them from, I don't have to be that person that doesn't feel like me, the not self. I can be my true self, my authentic self. And it helps them to start to recognize that other people are built differently. Other people have different energy. To honor other people, you don't have to know their human design, but you start to respect the fact that, some people run early, some people run late. It doesn't necessarily matter as long as you're honoring each other and moving forward. And something else you said really important is that, getting out of bed and, making movement forward. And there's a big thing I've learned in human design, which again, 70% are what's called the generator type. We're here to respond. Our energy is built in responding to things. And you can think of it, I think, more along these lines of masculine, feminine energy. I don't know if you probably talk about that sometimes, but that idea that we've got opportunities as soon as we wake up, we choose which ones to respond to rather than try to force something to happen. Manifesting is not about forcing something. Even there's an energy type called the manifester where they initiate, they create, that's their kind of role. But the generators are here to respond. And we can do so much, do such amazing things and things that we love when we're not so caught up in, we have to have it this way. What's coming to you? What's in your life right now that you enjoy? What can you do more of that you enjoy? And that responding can also help us to just be on that path more joyfully, more authentically.
Yeah, show up in real form. Be as real as you can be for yourself. And then you won't have so much pressure of the world or the people around you. I don't care who likes me. Half the time I don't like myself, but I'm not for everybody, but I'm always for me. So if you don't like me, you must have your reasons, and I'm going to respect that. But it's not going to rob me of a wink of sleep because I wasn't designed to fit in anywhere. And so when we believe that I don't think I'm better than anybody, do I question my artistry? Of course I do. And the least piece of art that I don't like, and I'm gonna let me hide that. Usually that's the first piece to sell. And that's the universe teaching me that, you know what? Just paint. That's all. You're the generator to paint, And so I think that when I do question myself, though, I do sit back and then I look at everything. I'm like, but I do like that. It could have been better. And I said, you know what? I like it. And I think when you sit with yourself and you know what? Pull yourself at the seams. See which ones need to be restitched. And it has the hole, but the hole's in the right place. And when you walk, it feels good, then leave it. Not everything has to be changed. Not everything has to be adjusted. But just know who you are and know why do you like that there. Why do you wear this? Why do you do this? And then when you do that, then everything else on the outside looks rosier, looks better. You can navigate your life a little better. But it all starts with you, and unfortunately it ends with you.
I have actually a pretty good question for both of you. It just popped up while you were talking. Do you think that maybe the reason, especially women, but men do this too, but especially women, the reason we don't take the time to rest, review, recover, reset on any part of our life is because we don't really want to know the truth, that we don't really want to see what's really in front of us? Do you think that's part of it? Is that deep down we know we're not on the right path, or we're not liking what we're seeing? And if we rest and we take the moment to review, and we have to be honest with ourselves of what we're seeing. Do you think that's part of it? Well, let's see what Kristi says first.
I mean, I think that can be a part of it. And, it's called inner work for a reason. It's work. It's not always easy, particularly, and, we don't go into the technical part, but our brains are wired to be easy, survival to be easy. And, that comfort zone, when you go out of your comfort zone, you have a natural response in your nervous system of like, whoa, I don't like this. And the nervous system tries to pull back to safety of what's familiar, what it knows. So it's not so much that women don't want to face the truth, let's say, or anyone for that matter. I think part of it is a physiological thing that's happening, a whole other episode. But, physiological, psychological, it's sort of the brain is doing something really deep, unconsciously, subconsciously. So that's involved as well.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Healing and understanding yourself is a tricky little fucker. And that's where you got to be willing to put in the work. Not worrying about what's social media, what's the latest trend in purses, sneakers, clothes. But, people think healing is all sunshines and the gold at the end of the rainbow. No, that's trudging through the mud on a rainy day with like miles to go to the first light bulb you see. But you got to go. You got to walk it, right? You got to tread through the mud. You got to get dirty. You got to get upset and exhausted and cry about it. And that's how you can release it, really, right? So we need to put in the work. You said about masculine energy, masculine and feminine energy, and that's so real. Like, because I'm an alpha. I have a lot of masculine energy. But I'm learning to balance them out. We need both. Just got to learn.
We need both.
We have both.
And all of my husbands always accuse me of trying to wear the pants in the house. It's just nature, right? So, but then now I've been a widow 5 years, and guess what? You learn. Like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like,
my saying is, where he wears the pants, but you pick them out.
That's it.
We already know who's in charge. I mean, seriously, that's the key to being a fabulous partner. When you're, especially when you know you are the one in charge, but you just make them think that they're in charge. That's the beauty of it. That's our skill set, really. I think to answer the question that I asked too on my side, I think that for a lot of people, they don't really want to know because they make an assumption that where they are right now or who they are is not that great, and they don't want to face it, and then they can't, and they think that they can't change it either, that it might be too hard, or they don't even know which direction to go. And I think one of the things that Kathy said, which was beautiful, just a natural flow, no push and no pull, just being. I think about this and feel into it often. And I love that you said feel into it. We just have to trust in the process. Like if we say, I'm not liking the direction my life is going, I don't like the life that I'm living, what part did I play and what can I do about it, and take the action. But you have to be the accountable piece, and then you have to say, I've got to do this. And what if I don't know how to do this? And what if I don't know which direction to go? Just take that pause and see if the direction presents itself. And then if not, ask questions, learn, and keep moving forward though. It's like, so because Gladiator, again, is always talking about the take action piece. You don't have to, listen, I'm a big fan of education. Like, I'm not saying formal, I'm saying life, anything, learning. But you could be walking and learning at the same time. If you are capable of reading and learning and walking, it's not like people say, I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. It's like, you can do these things. You don't have to sit on your ass and go, oh my God, well, I didn't learn enough yet. And I don't know enough yet. And I'm going to sit here a little bit longer because I don't know. I'm not ready yet. Just go. And then take those pauses, learn about yourself, and just go. You can't know unless you try. And for us to just give up and say, I can't. And I know, because I played that role for too many years of my life. And I didn't want to sit and rest and review because my life sucked. And that was my reality. And I didn't want to take that time. And sometimes the universe intervenes and forces you to take a look at your reality. And then what you choose to do with that information is entirely up to you. And I chose wisely. Thank goodness. I chose wisely. I chose to make a change. But Gladiator and I talk about this all the time. Kristi, I know you do too, because of what we do. We see plenty of people that come in our lives, whether they're clients, people we just run into, family members, friends, who they get the signs, they get the chances, and they just keep staying where they are. because they just don't want to take that time, and they don't want to rest because they don't believe they deserve it. They don't want to review because they don't want to face it. They don't think there's anything to recover from because they don't think they're capable of it. And then resetting becomes impossible because they don't know how. And I think that the big take here is that we have to, it's all about saying, I have the ability to do it. We all are built that way. We're more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. There's another R, resiliency. We are more resilient than we give ourselves credit for, but we insist on playing that story that has not worked for us for so many years. And we just keep playing it and playing it and playing it. When is it enough already? Like, when have you had enough already? Because everybody around you usually has enough of it. And you have to just say, I'm just going to trust in this process. I'm going to do this because I don't know what the hell's on the other side, but it's number one, it's got to be better than here. Number two, I deserve it, because you do. We all do. We all deserve it. And that's why we're here to, as a tribe, to say, you know what, you deserve this. It's don't believe the bullshit that you've been told all your life. And because it's not true. It's just there were people that, but what
and stop.
Yeah.
Stop judging yourself, I was going to say. Just
Yeah.
stop that judgment, because that's what's keeping you from really honoring yourself.
It does, the judgment. You know what? And if you want to start, anyone out there listening, my tidbit of advice: if you don't know how, learn how to garden and become the gardener of your roots. Cultivate that self-trust into your life, because if you cultivate that self-trust, it'll lead to believing in what you do, and ultimately into the self-love that your spirit is so pushing you and pulling you. You know, it takes me back to the Robert Frost quote where it says, "And the wind said to the rain, no, and the rain said to the wind, you push and I'll help." And that is working together. Be that for yourself. Be the wind in the rain in your life, and push yourself to everywhere you not want to go. When you feel like you're not energized, then allow the rain to come and saturate through your garden, so that you can reap a harvest that you can like just walk proudly into. And I think when we don't do the work, when we don't have something we enjoy coming home to do, be that person, be that it thing that you want to spend your weekend mornings cultivating. Be the garden that you so love when you're walking by somewhere. Because at the end of the day, we will reap what we sow. So what you're going to do, blame everybody around you because you never made it, because you never succeeded, because you never acquired what you thought you deserved and achieved all the accolades you felt that should have been given to you? No. It's time to get up, wipe the dust off your ass, and get to work. That's how you reset.
Definitely.
Sorry.
So the moral of today is no dusty ass. Like,
no dusty ass.
Wipe your ass already.
And I want to say, everybody who's on, hit up Kristi, because I know I am. And I think I told you that I was back then when I was in Connecticut. But, I love what you said. I love the whole human design concept. I think it's true, the ancestors, because everything has a partner, so I don't fully believe just in the mindset thing. I know everybody's on it, and change your thoughts, create a new life. I love my God. I believe in God. I believe in spirit. I believe in soul. And I think that when we feed our spirit kindness and gratitude and self-trust, then we assist our ego in dispelling all that anxiety and fear, which then leads to unfucking your brain. And when you unfuck your brain, you can see clearly, you can think clearly, you can act according to your DNA. Let's just find a way to reach deep within so that we can change what no longer serves us. What haven't served us for the majority of our life, but now we're ready to make a move. And I'm done talking because I need another cup of coffee.
So Kristi, give us words of wisdom. We got started just a few minutes late, but we're at the top of the hour. And if you have a few more moments to share, please, just give us more words of wisdom about what you do and what you've learned about being able to do that, being able to rest, review, recover, reset.
Yeah. Yeah. So I talk about human design and self-care because I think that more than ever is just so important for us to be aware of. Busy women who do want to shift their mindsets, know more about who they are, and help not only themselves thrive, but help others thrive too around them. Because when you take care of yourself, there's a ripple effect. Yes. And this isn't necessarily my quote, but I love to say this, that self-care, don't treat it as a luxury or a treat or even a task. It is a necessity. It's like food. We just enjoy it, have it, allow yourself to know that there's this feeds you every day. So it's so important. Make it essential, make it a priority.
I love that, because we as women don't. I knew a young mother of 4 and single mother of 4. But she always had her hair done, always had her lashes on. Her nails were always just too long for my personal liking. And her brother said, "You got 4 kids. You know, you got this and that. Why do you leave? You leave your kids and then you spend all this money on that." She goes, "I don't spend money on that. I added in to my necessity list: rent, utilities, car insurance, my self-care. It's not an option to not have it under my monthly guidelines of everything that I need to take care of. If I got to pay the rent, then I'm going to go get my nails done, because I work many hours a day to pay that rent. So I should be able to reap some of the rewards as well from that money." And I looked at her and I was like, wow. Like, I was like, it was that wow moment. Like, if women adapt that and just added that self-care part to what the monthly expenses of everything they need is, because we need self-care. So thank you for ending with that. That's a great ending.
Kristi, thank you so much for coming on. And we would love to have you back on as a guest, later in the year. And we're thrilled that you want to come to the book signing. We can't wait to give you a big hug. I can't wait because I just so miss hugging people and being in the space. And maybe we could convince Kathy Ruiz to fly in from Texas. Okay. But thank you so much for coming on. Really, it was such a pleasure. Yes. And for those of you that look at the advertisement that we had for today's show, Kristi's in this just beautiful, like vibrant colors. Like what was that play? The Technicolor Dreamcoat. What was that?
Oh, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I'm like, oh my God, it's just fabulous. So
it is.
And it just, I think that sung to me because it just shows the many colors of you, and I love that. So
yeah,
thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
We put all your information in the comments, clickable links, so that you can reach out to her on her website. You can follow her on her Facebook page. She has a group, and definitely do reach out to Kristi, because it's we cannot grow unless we also grow with our guests and connect tribes. Because in order for you to really push yourself, sometimes you do need the extra help from tribe members. So if you're cultivating your own garden, you can get some of us to come and help weed a little bit. I mean, we're all good with that. We don't mind.
So we learned that cultivating isn't something you just do overnight. It takes some time. But you know what? Are you worth it? Do you demand respect? If you demand respect, you better damn well give it to yourself. And that's learning who you are and healing what you need to heal, and purging what you no longer need. That same respect you demand is the same respect that you should command from yourself. And in saying that, I got a text. We talk about God and curse at the same time. Listen, I don't drink. I have tattoos. I smoke. I curse. I may be a heathen, but Jesus loves me. And with that,
thank you so much, Kristi. And we'll see everybody next week. Have an absolutely fabulous weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.